Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Are you debating right now whether you should do an email marketing campaign for your B2B product or service? There's a lot of companies out there right now. There's so many different channels to choose from. Which one is best for you? Which one is going to give you the best results? And so I thought I would go over 5 of the most frequently asked email marketing questions that I get. And I thought that this will help you in making that decision of, do I do an email marketing? Do I not? Do I do something else? So let's go through those together about the 5 frequently asked questions. Now, as humans, we love that shiny new object. We love that pitch that says, oh my goodness, you're going to have great results quickly. The grass is always greener on that other side, but you know what? We always want that, so we go after it. So the first question that I always hear is, should I spend my marketing budget on social media or on email marketing? Now, I thought about this question for a long time, and I really debated both sides. And I have to say, I can't choose. I can't choose between the two because both of them are great for different reasons. Now, for B2B offers, let me tell you why I like them both. An email marketing campaign, you can send that email marketing campaign direct to your target audience. You can speak directly to them. But of course, we all know B2B offers, there's more decision makers, it's a longer sales cycle. So what? How can email be good? Email is good because you can send out the promotion. You can do frequency, but then you can also have social posts that complement them. And why this is good is you might send an email, your team might be looking at it, reviewing it, but they don't make a decision. But if all of a sudden they see a social post, your brand stays top of mind, they go back, make the decision, and buy it. And that is why I like it to be a combination of both email marketing with the social media. They complement each other. They keep the brand top of mind, and they get the people to make the decision to buy. So, sorry to say, I can't tell you one or the other. It's a nice combination of both. The second question I always hear is, what if I don't have an email list? Where do I get one? And I said, well, the first thing you need to do is you need to start developing your own email list. I'm a big proponent of that every entity should own its own list. Don't rely on anybody else. Anybody else could change their logarithms. They could go out of business. Who knows what it is? You've got to own your own list. But that takes time. And when you go and you try to grow your own email list, let me warn you, go after quality, not quantity. You don't want to grow your list and have 10,000 people on your list if only 2,000 are of interest. Have that small, great list of people who are most interested in what you have to offer. This way, you'll be able to market smarter because you can market directly to them. Don't waste time with all these people out here that are not going to be interested in what you have to offer. So start to grow your own list. Start by having your website have some of your materials out there gated so people have to give you your email address and you start giving them to your list. You can also have some of that gated material out on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram and have the people click through and give you their email so that you can add to your list. And then when you have them on your list, you're able to nurture them through to becoming buyers. But what if you need a list right away? Well, you can't grow your own list. That takes time. That takes months to do that. So if you have a time-sensitive offer, like let's say you have an industrial auction or an executive education program, you need a list right away. And so I'll hear from clients, well, I'll just buy a list. Okay. You could do that. You can buy a list, but there's 4 things you better consider when you go out to buy a list. 1, make sure you know the source of the list. You've got to know what is the source. Where are those records coming from? Are they subscribing to a free newsletter? Are they being harvested off the internet? Are they being scraped off a variety of sources? You've got to know this information. 1, it shows the validity of the list and the records that are on it. But also there are multiple lists out in the marketplace right now that are the same list marketed under different names. That's called whitelisting. They whitelist the list under different names. So one might be called Major Executives Database, and the other one might even be called a specific industry, but it's really the same list, the same source. So know the source of the list. Verify that every person on the list is opted in. Now, we've all gotten those generic emails of those people saying, I've got the list. It's of all these executives in these industries. Just tell me what you want. I can get it for you. Think of my father. Too good to be true. So I'll ask him and I'll say, are these records opted in? And when the person comes back to me and says, what do you mean by opted in? It's like, woo, red flag, opted in. If she doesn't know what red opted in is, then walk away. Step away from that. You don't want to touch that file because the person has to opt in to getting third-party messages. Otherwise, they can file a complaint against you. The third thing, you've got to make sure that the files are compliant by state, because now individual states are having their own regulations, and by country. So GDPR, if you're going international, make sure they're compliant. Again, if not, they can complain. You will get assessed a penalty, which is quite large, and they can blacklist you. Now, what happens when they blacklist you is your domain gets shut down. So you're basically just dead in the water. You can't do anything with your company's domain. Think about that for a minute. You don't have a domain anymore. Emails are shut down to everyone on your team. You can't send out promotions. You're really up the creek. So you want to make sure that the lists are compliant. And then make sure the list, if you decide to buy a list, is selectable by the areas you need. You don't want a big, broad list. You want a list that reaches your specific audience. Because like I said, don't waste your time on all this other stuff out there. Now, I know a lot of people like to buy lists because they want to quickly grow their house file. But I would recommend before you rush out and buy a list, rent a few lists. And when you rent a list, you can rent them from industry-specific publishers and conference companies. You rent their list. Now think about it. These are very reputable publishers and conference companies. These lists are very valuable assets to them because these are the lists they use to promote their own products and services. So they do not release that data. They hold it in-house. You're able to send them your material and they deploy the email for you. Now, what's great about this is because it's an industry-specific list, you're able to pinpoint your audience, your target audience, but it's getting sent from their platform. So you're more apt to make it to their inbox. And because the recipient knows that brand, they're more apt to open it. So it's almost like a win-win. You get to go into this very specific list. Your email is going to go to their inbox, and they're most likely going to open it. And then you get to see the results that you get, because the results you get from these different rental lists, you then can use to decide whether, okay, I'm going to buy a list and now I know this is the specific area I need to target. Or I'm going to grow my house list. Now I know what people I want to grow my house lists. I want them to be chief financial officers in tech companies of a certain size. You get all that valuable information. So rent a few lists first before you decide to go out there and just buy a big list. And as I mentioned, you sometimes need those email lists right away because you have a time-sensitive offer that has to get out there. It has to be sent directly to your audience so they can make a decision to buy. Now, the third question I always hear from people is, Donna, I have built this great database. And I'm like, oh, congratulations. I'm glad you've got such a nice database. Yeah, 10,000. And they'd ask, well, do I have to segment it? Yes. And why? Because right now, companies have to concentrate on building a relationship. The only way to build a relationship with an individual is by having a common bond. Segmenting your list. So for me, it could be, okay, my industrial auction companies are here. Executive education is here. The tech platforms are here. I have separate segments so that I can market to them differently, but I get to speak directly to them about the concerns or the goals that they have. They feel like I understand them. They're getting the information they need to do their job better. One of the examples I use is, I might be at a dinner party and people will be talking about sports. It'll be football, baseball, everything. And I love sports. But then there's that one person who's thinking and talking about downhill skiing. Like, hey, they're my people. That's the person I need to be talking to. So long after that dinner party is over, who am I going to talk to? I'm going to talk to the person that has that similar interest with downhill skiing. What type of skis are on the market? What type of mountains to ski out west? Whatever it is, we're going to have now a common bond and we're going to develop that relationship. You've got to do the same. And that's why you segment your lists so that you have a common bond with these individuals. You're offering them content and value. And when I say content, I mean give information. Don't be plummeting your service or your product on people. You say something like, I understand this is happening in your industry, and we've seen that you can do this, this, and this to fix that. And sometimes it might bring in your product, but it's a very, very soft sell. It's educating first, giving information first, offering value. And that's why it is so very important to segment your list. The fourth question I will receive from people is, how often should I send emails? Well, you've got an email list or you're renting an email list. You want to be able to nurture that individual. No one buys from a one-off email blast, especially in the B2B space, especially if you have an expensive B2B offer. They have to sit and think about it. So they get that first email. You've got to send another one afterwards to nurture that individual, remind them, but each time offering value. I tell people, if you're going to do a frequency, no more than 2 weeks apart. I like 1.5, really, but no more than 2 weeks apart, because you want them to be able to remember the previous message you sent. Now, if you think about, I don't remember what someone sent me a month ago. Do I remember what someone sent me 2 weeks ago? Well, I do if it's of importance to me. If it's not, if it's a generic email, no, probably I don't remember what emails I got 2 weeks ago. But if it spoke directly to me, a conference I want to go to, a trade show, I will remember that. And that's why you do that nurturing and you space it out. Consistency is the key for all marketing. And you want to have it so that it's nice and consistent. I know right now you're probably like, well, Donna, how am I supposed to keep that straight? How am I going to be able to keep up on top of that when I've got all my everyday jobs to do? That's where you've got to invest in a good email marketing platform. A good email marketing platform helps you do this job. Now, World's Innovators, we're on the HubSpot platform. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, that's so expensive. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I equate it to having 2 employees. So really, it's inexpensive than if I had to pay 2 employees with their taxes on their salary. And then they don't work the hours that an email marketing platform works. An email marketing platform is up 24/7, 365 days a year. Now, there's no employee that will do that. And even if they did, they'd be insane after a while. So you don't want that. And I'm not saying go to HubSpot. There are specific email marketing platforms that's right for everyone. If you want to talk to me about which platform I would recommend to you, please feel free to reach out to me. And I'm sure I can point you in the right direction of what email marketing platforms will help you achieve your goals by setting up a sequence or a workflow that really helps nurture the individual. You know, you send out an email, they opened it. Okay, then you're going to get this message. You sent out an email, they didn't take any action. Okay, you're going to get this message. You got an email and you clicked, okay, you're getting this message. You know, they're going to all now start to go on 3 different paths based on the actions they took. And this is where you're going to be able to develop that relationship. And when you develop the relationship, that's when you instill trust. The 5th question. This one, usually I get from a CFO. How fast can we reach our email marketing goals? How fast are we going to increase sales? I have to say, be patient. Be patient and be consistent. Think of it as weight loss. You don't want to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. You rather make small changes and gradually take off the weight so it stays off. Same thing with your marketing. You don't want to get like all that and then drop off. You want to create a marketing strategy that year after year your company grows because you're building relationships that instills trust. But then these people are going to want to buy from you year after year because they trust you, because you understand them, and because you've built a reputation with them. So be patient. Go after your goals, but do it in a nice, consistent way. Also remember, marketing is all about testing. And sometimes campaigns are not going to do well, but you're going to be able to get a wealth of information from those campaigns. Like, why didn't they work well? Was the content off? Was their subject line off? Was the call to action wrong? Was the offer wrong? But you're able to take any information you get from successes or failures and grow from it. Some of my biggest failures have turned into big wins because I was able to get that missing piece that turned everything around. So when people ask me, is email marketing still effective? A resounding yes. A yes when it is done properly. If you think you can still send big, massive emails out with a generic message to a large group of people and get great results, you're wrong. That will not be it will not be a good email marketing campaign. You will be discouraged by it. And that is why sometimes I hear email doesn't work. And most of the time it's because they're too broad, they're too generic, and they're not consistent. Go back over this video, listen to it again. Make sure you have the answers to all 5 of these questions, why you understand that they are good, why you need to do this. If you want to get more tips on marketing, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can also connect to the World Innovators YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see all the videos I have coming up on a variety of different topics that's going to help you do quality marketing initiatives that you will be able to grow your business with year after year. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.